Welcome to the deep dive. People often think of romantic comedies as, well, just cinematic comfort food, right? Frothy, maybe a bit formulaic escapism.
Yeah, that's the common take.
But what if there's more going on? What if these films are actually holding up a mirror to society, telling us something important about ourselves?
That's exactly what we're diving into today. We think rom-coms work almost like potent cultural barometers.
Okay.
They reflect, and sometimes even shape, society's changing ideas about love, about partnership, and really critically about female ambition. That happy ending everyone expects. It's not static.
Right, it shifts.
It's a moving target, constantly being redefined by women's changing roles.
Okay, so let's map this out. We're going on, what, a 70-year journey?
Pretty much. 70 years, 4 iconic heroines. We'll look at how each woman's independence is first defined, then celebrated.
And then maybe contained.
And ultimately contained, exactly, by the romantic resolution the genre pretty much demands. Well, start way back, 1934. Ellie Andrews in One Night I. Then jump to 1961. Carol Templeton in Lover come back.
A classic.
Then 1993, Annie Reed, Sleepless in Seattle.
Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks, got it.
And finish in 2002 with Marissa Ventura in Maid in Manhattan.
J-Lo. Okay, so 4 very different women, different eras.
It's a fascinating way to track how women's progress, and sometimes, well, the resistance to it, plays out on screen.
All right, let's do it. 1934, it happened one night. What was going on back then? It's the Depression.
Exactly, deep depression. And it created this real paradox for women, a double bind.
How so?
Well, on one hand, culturally, there was this huge pushback towards traditional roles. Domesticity, motherhood, that was the ideal. Working women were sometimes seen as, selfish, un-American money grubbers even.
Wow. Taking jobs from men, was that the idea?
That was often the sentiment, yeah. But here's the paradox. Economic desperation actually forced more women into the workforce.
Out of necessity.
Pure necessity.
Mm.
But, and this is crucial, it was mostly into really low-paying, very gender-specific jobs. Think secretaries, domestic workers, that kind of thing.
So tension between the ideal homemaker and the reality of women needing to work.
Intense tension. And you have to remember, Hollywood was facing its own crisis right then, too. The whole pre-code era was ending.
Ah, right. Pre-code. What exactly does that mean for a film like It Happened One Night?
Okay, so pre-code, roughly late 20s to mid-34, meant films could be much, racier, more honest about sex, crime, social issues. The Hays Code, the strict moral rule book, existed but wasn't really enforced until July 1934.
So this film just squeaked in.
It came out in February 34, so it had this freedom. Themes of class, cess, social rebellion, even just the basic premise. An unmarried man and woman traveling together, sleeping in the same motel room, separated only by a blanket.
The walls of Jericho.
Exactly. That would have been totally impossible just a few months later under the enforced code.
So how does Ellie Andrews, Claudette Colbert's character, fit into this messy picture? Is she one of those struggling working women?
Not at all, initially. She's introduced as a spoiled brat, basically. Her big act of independence at the start is running away a petulant rebellion, is a good way to put it.
Running from her rich dad?
Yep, running from her millionaire father to marry some guy seen as a fortune-hunting aviator.
Yeah.
So it's defiance, not really principled independence.
And she's completely useless on her own, right? That's part of the comedy.
Totally. Her idea of independence is just a fantasy. It evaporates the minute things get tough.
Which forces her to rely on Peter Warren, Clark Gable's character.
Right, the cynical reporter.
Right.
And their relationship starts off very transactional. He helps her, she gives him the story. But he also becomes her new guide. A new kind of patriarch almost.
Teaching her how to dunk donuts and stuff.
Yeah, teaching her basic survival while also constantly calling her a brat, infantilizing her.
Which brings us back to the walls of Jericho. You said it's pre-code innuendo?
It definitely is. A nod to the sexual tension, the forbidden closeness.
Mm.
But it's more than just sex. Think about who puts up the wall. It's Peter, the working class guy. He's establishing a boundary, asserting a kind of masculine moral authority in this slightly scandalous situation. It reflects the fragile social rules of the time.
And then the wall eventually comes down. Symbolically.
Triumphantly. And that's pure Capra, that populist fantasy.
Right. Class barriers crumbling because of, real human connection.
Exactly. Super appealing message for a Depression audience.
Yeah.
But here's the twist for Ellie's independence.
Okay.
Her whole journey, her hardship, it's framed as this romanticized adventure. It's like a temporary lesson in slumming it.
Unlike real women struggling back then.
Precisely. Her hardship is temporary, it's educational, and crucially, it's always supervised by Peter, this capable male protector. Her rebellion is just a detour.
A detour to make her.
A better wife, essentially, more worthy. It leads her right back into wealth and security through marriage. It ends up reinforcing patriarchal security, not challenging it.
Interesting. Okay, let's jump forward. Nearly 30 years. 1961, Lover Come Back. Doris Day, Rock Hudson. What's the world like now?
Oh, massively different. Huge shifts. You've got the birth control pill just arriving, which is fundamentally changing the game around sex and procreation, laying groundwork for the sexual revolution.
Right.
And just around the corner, Betty Friedan is about to publish The Feminine Mystique.
Giving voice to that feeling, the problem that has no name.
Exactly, igniting second-wave feminism. And you see the rise of the career girl.
Okay, the career girl, single women, ambitious, heading into offices.
Into largely male territory, yeah. But it wasn't easy. Still mostly pink-collar jobs, secretary, assistant-type roles. And the pay gap was huge, like 60 cents for every dollar a man earned.
So, fertile ground for the battle of the sexes theme in movies.
Absolutely. Became a huge thing in these sex comedies. And Doris Day was queen.
Her persona,
Yeah.
the professional virgin.
Yeah, that was her brand. She managed to embody both modern independence and traditional virtue. It made her the perfect vehicle, a cultural mediator, to explore some pretty radical ideas without scaring everyone off.
Okay, so Carol Templeton in Lover Come Back, how does she fit this?
She is the quintessential career girl. She's smart, ambitious, works in advertising on Madison Avenue, which the film shows as this total boys' club, full of chauvinism and, frankly, corruption.
So her independence is about her job, her ethics.
Exactly. It's defined by her professional skill and her absolute refusal to play dirty like the men do. She won't compromise her principles.
And her rival is Jerry Webster, Rock Hudson. He's the opposite.
Total opposite. Represents the old guard, the patriarchal status quo. He wins accounts with booze, parties, showgirls, not actual talent.
So it's a war, a professional war.
On a very uneven field. And the central plot twist? Well, it's pretty wild.
Remind me.
Jerry invents this fake persona, Dr. Linus Tyler. He pretends to be this naive, kind of goofy scientist.
To trick Carol.
To seduce her, basically. And she falls for it. She falls for this performance of masculinity that seems less threatening, more manageable than the real Jerry.
Huh. And the film satirizes advertising too, right? With that fake product?
VIP, yes. This totally non-existent product. It's a brilliant metaphor
Charlotte.
for the whole world they're in.
Yeah.
The empty promises, the artificiality. It suggests everything is a construct. Products, even gender roles, can be manipulative performances.
But the film champions Carol, the career woman. Does she win in the end?
She does succeed professionally, yes.
Yeah.
And she proves her competence. But the ending, well, the film kind of pulls its punches.
How so?
The climax involves them getting drunkenly married before anything physical happens. Apparently, Doris Day insisted on that.
Really?
Yeah. So it legitimizes everything, contains her ambition and her sexuality within marriage, traditional marriage.
So she wins the VIP account, but Jerry wins her. He marries the competition.
That's one way to read it, absolutely.
Yeah.
He neutralizes his fiercest rival by marrying her.
Is that fair, though? Or just reflecting the times?
Probably a bit of both. It reflects the limits, you know. Even a character as competent and independent as Carol ultimately finds her resolution within that traditional framework. It wasn't quite a full-on feminist victory, maybe more like a pragmatic truce with the status quo of 61.
Okay, let's loop again. 1993, Sleepless in Seattle. Things have changed again. Big time.
Oh, yeah. Early 90s, it felt like women had really arrived in many ways.
What do you mean?
Well, the daughters of those second-wave feminists were now adults, benefiting from all that activism, going to college in huge numbers, moving into positions of power.
But wasn't there backlash, too? I remember Anita Hill.
Absolutely. 1991, the Anita Hill hearings were massive. Then 1992 was dubbed the Year of the Woman in politics. This all fueled third-wave feminism.
Which was different, how?
More focus on girl power, but also crucially on intersectionality, recognizing that women's experiences differ based on race, class, sexuality. But yeah, alongside the progress, there was definitely a potent cultural backlash. And women were under this intense media microscope. The 24-hour news cycle was kicking in.
A complex time.
Very. And Nora Ephron just nailed that complexity in her rom-coms. Her heroines are different.
Witty, neurotic.
Professional, successful, but also deeply self-aware. Always wrestling with the difference between real relationships and the romantic fantasies fed to us by movies, by media.
Which brings us to Annie Reid, Meg Ryan. She seems like the perfect Efron heroine.
Totally. The cinematic embodiment of this post-feminist woman. She's got it all on paper. Successful journalist, financially independent, engaged to a nice, sensible guy. Walter.
Poor Walter.
Poor Walter, indeed. Because Annie's conflict isn't external like Ellie's or Carol's.
Yeah.
It's entirely
She
internal.
wants magic.
She wants magic, despite having a perfectly good life. And crucially, that yearning is explicitly linked to media. Specifically, the movie An Affair to Remember. That's her benchmark for romance.
So it's like she's achieved the feminist goals, career, independence, but now what?
Exactly. It's a post-feminist dilemma. The final frontier for her self-determination isn't professional, it's emotional, romantic. She wants to write her own fairy tale, but she's using the old fairy tale tropes to do it.
And she's really proactive about it. She doesn't just wish for magic, she goes after it.
Right. She hears Sam Baldwin, Tom Hanks, on the radio, this grieving widower, and she uses her skills, journalistic research, even hires a PI. She's actively investigating him. She is absolutely the author of her own romantic quest.
She's trying to deconstruct the rom-com while living in one.
Perfectly put. She gets the cliches, she even mocks them sometimes, but she still wants that feeling. That's the Efron touch. Smart enough to see the strings, romantic enough to dance anyway.
And the most radical thing about Sleepless is surely that they barely meet.
Until the very end. On top of the Empire State Building, it completely blows up the traditional meet cute.
So their connection isn't physical attraction initially.
No, it's built entirely on a voice on the radio, handwritten letters, and, well, Sam's kid playing matchmaker. It's about emotional connection first. A meeting of minds and sensibilities.
The Empire State Building is just the confirmation, not the beginning.
Exactly. She wrote the script, found the co-star, and then they finally showed up for the last scene. It's quite remarkable, really.
Okay, final stop. Early 2000s. 2002. Made in Manhattan. Post 9/11 world. What's the vibe?
Anxiety. A real yearning for security. Some scholars argue that after 9/11, you saw this cultural pullback towards more traditional values in rom-coms. Sort of return to fantasies of patriarchal protection.
Interesting. And economically.
Growing awareness of income inequality. The whole idea of the American dream was starting to feel pretty shaky, especially for working class people, people of color. Women's poverty rates were significantly higher, too.
And then you have Jennifer Lopez, a huge star by then.
Massive. The first Latina superstar. She really embodied a version of the American dream herself, Jenny from the Block, who made it big, on her own terms, a real cultural force.
So, her character, Marisa Ventura, how does she compare to the others?
She's arguably the most socially grounded heroine yet. She's not just independent, she has to be. Single mom, Latina from the Bronx, working as a hotel maid.
Her independence is about survival.
Absolutely. Necessity. Her ambition isn't for magic like Annie's, it's for upward mobility. A better life for her son, basic security.
And the film leans right into the Cinderella story, doesn't it? Maid meets prince.
Explicitly. Marissa the maid, Christopher Marshall, Ralph Fiennes, the wealthy politician, basically a prince figure. Her magic moment is trying on a rich guest's designer clothes. It's all about the material transformation.
And it directly addresses class and ethnicity.
It does. The hotel is like a mini New York, showing all the social layers. And Maurice's whole deception, pretending to be a guest, it comes from fear. Fear that being a Puerto Rican maid is a barrier she just can't overcome with this guy.
But critics point out the ending is maybe not so progressive.
Yeah, it gets called a deeply conservative assimilationist fantasy. Meaning, while Marisa has ambitions, she wants to go into hotel management. Her real path upwards, her salvation, comes through the romance, through marrying the rich, powerful white guy.
So the epilogue shows her success, but tied to him.
Right, those magazine covers show her successful business, but it's presented as totally linked to her marriage to Chris. It fits that post-9/11 fantasy of patriarchal protection idea we talked about. Feels like a step back from Annie Reid's self-authored story.
But Jennifer Lopez herself, doesn't her star power complicate that, Rita?
Hugely. That's the productive tension. We, the audience, see Marisa, but we also see J-Lo, powerful, ambitious, self-made Jenny from the Block.
It creates a dissonance.
Exactly, cognitive dissonance. The story might be selling a regressive fantasy of rescue, but because it stars this icon of female empowerment, it somehow feels modern, aspirational. It lets us have our Cinderella cake and eat our feminist critique too, maybe.
Okay, wow. So 70 years. From Ellie running away to Marisa trying to move up. If you boil it all down, what's the through line?
It's quite a journey, isn't it? Ellie's flight from one kind of male control lands her in another, safer one, suitable for the Depression. Carol fights tooth and nail for professional respect in a man's world, proves herself, But ultimately, marriage seems to contain that ambition.
Right.
Annie's battle moves inward. She achieves the external stuff, then fights for emotional self-determination, writing her own romantic script.
And Marisa.
Marisa faces the messy reality of the 21st century: class, race, single motherhood. Her independence is tied up with basic economic survival and upward mobility, which the film ultimately grants her through marriage.
So women gain ground, their worlds get bigger, their issues more complex, reflecting reality.
Immense ground, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the genre itself has this incredibly strong pull.
The gravitational pull towards what?
Towards romantic coupling as the ultimate happy ending. That seems to be the non-negotiable core logic.
So the walls of Jericho fall.
But new walls go up, maybe more subtle ones. A glass ceiling in Carol's office. The seductive power of media-fueled fantasy for Annie. The seeming necessity of a Cinderella rescue for Marisa.
So female independence is always, in the end, tied back to finding the right guy.
Beautifully, compellingly, and let's be honest, profitably tied to finding the right man. That seems to be the enduring magic trick of the rom-com.
Okay, so thinking about that journey, from 1934 right up to 2002, it makes you wonder, what new walls or maybe ceilings are today's romantic comedies building or maybe even tearing down when we think about female independence and what a happy ending looks like now? What does that mean for you?